You won't believe what happened out here on our ranch. For weeks, we started noticing something strange. Those HOA cops, the neighborhood enforcers nobody really trusts, were sneaking around, spying on our property like it was some kind of secret mission. It felt like we were being watched every time we stepped outside. At first, we tried to ignore it, thinking maybe it was just a coincidence or routine checks. But then it got worse. One day, Grandpa caught them parked by the gate in their cruiser, quietly watching, taking notes, and just making us all uneasy. Grandpa, being the no-nonsense man he is, wasn't about to let this go on without a little payback. What he did next was something no one expected. He decided to set a controlled burn right around their cruiser. It wasn't reckless or dangerous, but it was a bold statement that said, "We see you, and we're not afraid." The fire flickered and danced close to their vehicle, sending a clear message that spying on our land wasn't going to be tolerated. But did it stop the HOA cops? Or did it only make things worse? The tension has only grown since then, and trust me, you're going to want to hear what happens next, because this isn't just about a fire. It's about standing up for what's ours in a fight nobody saw coming. To understand why Grandpa went to such lengths, you've got to know what this ranch means to our family. It's more than just land. It's a legacy passed down through generations, a place where memories were made and hard work paid off. Over the years, the HOA started cracking down harder and harder, with new rules that seemed to target us specifically. Fences had to be a certain height, no parking on the gravel, even what kind of plants we could grow. It felt like they were trying to squeeze us out, to make this place less ours and more like some cookie-cutter neighborhood. But Grandpa wasn't about to let that happen without a fight. The spying only confirmed what we feared, that they were gathering info to build a case against us, probably hoping to fine us or take away parts of the ranch. It wasn't just a simple neighborhood patrol anymore. It felt personal. Each day, we catch glimpses of their cruiser parked just beyond the trees, sometimes with a camera aimed right at the barn. That's when Grandpa decided enough was enough. The controlled burn wasn't just about fire. It was about sending a message that we're watching too. But here's the thing. The HOA cops didn't back down after the burn. If anything, things got stranger. Strange calls, weird visits, and the whole neighborhood seemed on edge. What were they really after? And how far would they go? The story doesn't end here, and honestly, it's getting more intense by the day. After the controlled burn, things between us and the HOA didn't just cool off, they heated up in ways none of us expected. The HOA officers started showing up more often, but this time, they weren't just watching from a distance. They began knocking on doors, asking neighbors questions, trying to dig up any little thing they could use against us. Some neighbors were nervous, caught in the middle and unsure who to trust. We could feel the tension in the air, like a storm was brewing that nobody wanted to admit was coming. Meanwhile, Grandpa kept a close eye on everything, but he wasn't the only one who noticed how strange the whole situation was. My cousin, who runs a small feed store nearby, told me he overheard some HOA members talking about special orders and strict enforcement, almost like they were being pushed from somewhere higher up. It made us wonder, was this about more than just property rules? Was there some bigger plan we didn't see yet? At the same time, rumors started spreading about other families in the area who had been targeted before, people who mysteriously lost parts of their land or were buried under fines they couldn't pay. It made us question how far the HOA would go to control the ranches around here. But even with all the pressure, Grandpa refused to back down. The controlled burn was just the beginning, and we all knew there was more to come. We're stuck in a dangerous game now, where every move counts, and the stakes are higher than ever. What will happen next? The answers are still out there, hidden in the shadows. Days turned into nights filled with unease. The atmosphere around the ranch grew thick with suspicion, every sound making us jump a little more. The HOA cops weren't just watching anymore. They were making their presence felt in ways that couldn't be ignored. One evening, I spotted their cruiser parked just beyond the ridge, headlights off but engines running, like they were waiting for something. Grandpa warned us all to stay sharp and keep our distance, but it was hard not to feel like we were trapped under a microscope. Then came the calls, anonymous, cryptic messages left on the answering machine, hinting that they knew more about us than we realized. Someone was definitely trying to intimidate us, but no one knew who or why. The neighbors started closing up, looking over their shoulders, and the friendly small-town feel we once had was disappearing fast. The quiet threats felt heavier than any official notice or letter. Meanwhile, the mysterious special orders my cousin overheard became more than just rumors. We noticed new signs popping up near the entrance to our property, official-looking, warning about imminent enforcement actions if we didn't comply with the HOA's new demands. The tension was at its peak, and it felt like any wrong move could set off something bigger than just a neighborhood dispute. Grandpa's controlled burn had started something much larger than any of us expected, and now we were all holding our breath, waiting to see what the HOA would do next. The ranch, our home, was on the line, and the showdown was coming sooner than anyone thought. Just when we thought things couldn't get any worse, a new twist hit us out of nowhere. One morning, Grandpa discovered that someone had tampered with the water supply to the ranch. The main valve was partially closed, cutting off enough water to threaten the livestock and the crops. At first, we thought it was an accident, but the timing was too suspicious, right after the controlled burn and all the warnings from the HOA. It felt like a direct attack, and it pushed the conflict into a whole new, more dangerous territory. But here's the kicker. When we checked the security cameras, ones Grandpa had installed after the spying started, the footage was missing. Hours of recording gone. Someone had clearly been onto us, watching and now actively sabotaging our ranch. It wasn't just the HOA cops spying anymore. Someone was crossing lines we never thought they would. The whole community seemed to be watching and waiting to see if we'd break or stand our ground. Neighbors who once kept their distance started coming forward, whispering about others who'd been through similar things: cut water lines, missing equipment, even threats in the dead of night. It was becoming clear that the HOA's fight wasn't just about rules or fines anymore. It was about control, and they were willing to push people to the edge to get it. Now, with the ranch's survival at stake and our trust shattered, the pressure is mounting. Grandpa is more determined than ever, but the question is, how far will we have to go to protect what's ours before it all explodes? The showdown is closer than ever, and the next move could change everything. The tension finally reached a breaking point one late afternoon when Grandpa, armed with a hidden tracker he'd slipped onto the HOA cruiser, caught the officers red-handed trying to plant false evidence around the ranch. They thought no one was watching, but Grandpa's quiet vigilance paid off. With proof in hand, we confronted the HOA board, exposing their illegal spying and sabotage. The community rallied behind us, furious that the people meant to protect neighborhood rules had crossed the line into harassment and intimidation. The HOA was forced to back down, investigations were launched, and the threat to our water supply and land was finally stopped. It felt like the fight to save our ranch was won, not just for us, but for every family that HOA had tried to bully. Grandpa's controlled burn had sparked more than just fire. It ignited a stand for justice that no one expected. But just as things seemed to settle, the unexpected happened. While sorting through the confiscated evidence, we discovered that one of the HOA officers wasn't acting alone. There was a shadowy figure behind the scenes, pulling strings from a neighboring development company eager to buy out the ranch lands once the families were pushed out. The real battle was just beginning, and this new threat was even more dangerous. We had won the fight for now, but protecting the ranch meant preparing for a much bigger war. The story isn't over yet, and trust me, you'll want to see what happens next. We had won the fight for now, but protecting the ranch meant preparing for a much bigger war. The story isn't over yet, and trust me, you'll want to see what happens next. After uncovering the bigger scheme behind the HOA's actions, we knew this wasn't just about neighborhood rules anymore. It was about protecting our family's legacy from powerful interests who saw our ranch as nothing more than a piece of land to be bought and sold. Grandpa reminded us that standing up wasn't just about fighting for ourselves, but for everyone who values home, history, and hard work. The community came together stronger than ever. Neighbors who were once hesitant joined in, sharing their stories and standing united against outside threats. We tightened security, stayed vigilant, and made sure our voices were heard. The HOA officers involved were held accountable, and the shady developers' plans hit roadblocks thanks to our efforts. Looking back, the controlled burn wasn't just an act of defiance. It was the spark that lit a fire of courage in all of us. This story is a reminder that sometimes standing up to unfair power means taking risks, but with family and community by your side, it's possible to protect what truly matters. Our ranch is still here, stronger and more alive than ever, and while challenges may come again, one thing's clear: we won't let anyone take it from us without a fight. Thanks for following this journey. There's always more stories on the horizon.